The news of today has made it more obvious to me than it ever has been before that USDT Tether is not going to be around for much longer. The rug is actually getting ripped right out underneath their feet, and Ripple is capitalizing on this chance, cannibalizing them. Paulo Ordino, the CEO of Tether, is experiencing feelings of threat and is experiencing terror. The question that was posed to Arduino was, how do you explain the fact that USDC, the stablecoin employed by your primary rival, is not exhibiting the same growth as USDT, for the reason that they have not yet? Determined who is in greatest need of a stablecoin, he responded accordingly. Circle stablecoin is primarily aimed at financial institutions that do not require it at the moment. It is like trying to sell ice cream to an Eskimo. No one in either the United States or Europe has a genuine requirement for a stablecoin. Existing bank accounts are already held by the majority of persons who reside in those territories. People in Asia, the Middle East, Africa, South and Central America, and other parts of the world that have trouble accessing the banking system are the ones who are in the greatest need with regard to financial services. An increasing number of individuals are utilizing our stablecoin as a means of safeguarding themselves from the collapse of their regional economy. The regions of Asia, the Middle East, Africa, South America, and Central America have a considerably greater need for a stablecoin than the regions of Europe and the United States, according to this assertion. I imagine that there is some validity to this statement. However, this is somewhat a problem with Tether, because they are effectively confessing that they have entirely ignored Europe and the United States. They are being cannibalized, which is the reason why they are being eaten by other people. At this point, we are in possession of MECA regulations, which are stablecoin regulations, and they are just around the corner, exactly 1 month from now. As we can see, the success of this law known as MECA has the potential to create a framework for other countries, which may result in the export of similar rules to other jurisdictions. Does it make sense to you? To put it more plainly, MECA is going to serve as the model, the basis for the regulations that govern stablecoins all over the world. In light of this, the rope that encircles USDT Tether is becoming increasingly tight. As stated by Natalia Laka, a policy director at the blockchain analytics company Merkle Science and a leader in the field of crypto compliance and financial crime, the MECA legislation would categorize Tether as an electronic money token, also known as an EMT. As a result, Tether would be required to demonstrate that they are both financially stable and operationally efficient, as well as comply with the regulatory framework established by MECA. Therefore, in order for them to be a legally recognized entity within the EU, they would be required to establish a physical presence in one of the member states located within the EU. Considering that the majority of Tether's operations are located outside of Europe, this could provide a challenge for the company. On the other hand, the complications that Tether faces do not end there. This makes matters even more complicated considering that Tether's market cap and size, as well as its user base, are extremely enormous. If Tether were to be categorized as a large emergency medical service EMT, then they would be subject to more stringent regulations and criteria. Therefore, MECA is Tether's worst nightmare, and as a consequence of the imminent deployment of MECA, Kraken Exchange is purportedly contemplating eliminating support for USDT. This is because MECA is expected to be implemented soon. Arduino is beginning to feel threatened by its competitors, and it appears that this is due to the fact that Tether has overlooked the European Union and the United States. As a result, these regions, Europe and the United States, are targeting Tether. Following his comments from the previous week, it has been claimed that an uneducated CEO who is managing a company that is being probed by the SEC is establishing a competitor stablecoin, which is spreading concern about USDT. It goes without saying that this is a reference to the statements made by Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse in the podcast that Chris Vasquez and he were discussing. Arduino, on the other hand, would be aware of the fact that Brad Garlinghouse was not attacking Tether if he had listened. That Tether indicated that people in all of these regions want a stablecoin, including Asia, the Middle East, Africa, South and Central America, and countries where Ripple is already entrenched and deeply established. The use of Ripple is actually widespread around the globe. In light of the fact that Ripple and XRP have also established themselves in Europe and the United States, it is highly likely that the new stablecoin will eliminate the requirement for Tether. It is accurate to say that MECA is their greatest nightmare. In this interview with Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire, we are able to hear about the enormous impact that the British have had. The MECA regulation is going to require careful attention from the audience. The timing of Ripple's announcement to launch their own stablecoin, which is 100% backed by US government deposits, treasury, and cash equivalent, is the perfect moment for them as regulations are now being enforced and as Ripple's lawsuit is coming close to an end. This is because everyone is going to jump on board to issue their own stablecoin, which is why the timing of Ripple's announcement is perfect. This is the reason why the value of XRP is set to skyrocket in the near future. This is what Paul Barron has to say about stablecoins when you look at the big money moving at the pace, and which is going to be moving into the cryptocurrency market. Stablecoins is the gateway to all of this. In addition, Arduino mentioned that Circle is primarily aiming to provide a reliable cryptocurrency to financial institutions when they do not require it. This is a brief diversion from the previous statement. Now, Ripple is doing exactly the same thing as Circle is doing in this regard, which is targeting huge banks and other financial organizations. However, this is still another reason why Tether is in a bad position. The provision of crypto asset distributed ledger technology DLT banking services for the purpose of making payment deposits is neither not forbidden nor discouraged through partnerships and contracts with banks. There is a literal incorporation of blockchain technology into the financial system. The groundwork is currently being set for wider acceptance by the public, and banks are implementing this technology. They have already been granted permission to offer cryptographic services for the purpose of making payments, which is perfectly in line with what the Bees announced not too long ago. The existing monetary system is far too outdated and need to be discarded. The foundation for TradeFire, fintechs, and cryptocurrency, both old and new, has been set by Ripple and XRP, which has allowed the rest of the industry to walk so that it can run. Especially now that the dollar is continuously losing its impact, which is more dire than many seem to even know, and XRP and cryptocurrency could give a safe haven for this financial catastrophe. Especially now that the dollar is losing its credibility. Listen with great attention. 90% during the course of the past half-century. What was it that you did? If you do that, like simply an altered version? The ability to purchase $100,000 worth of goods. It's true. It's true. Wow. To put that into perspective, do we believe that things are going to get better or worse? Wow. Could you please print it? To be honest, I believe that things are going to grow even worse. It does make sense, yes. That currency is the most effectively managed. And just so you know, we are free to disagree about it. In point of fact, I ought to reclaim that statement a little bit. This is one of the most well-managed currencies in the United States dollar, and many people would argue that it is the most up-to-date money available at the moment. It's true. I mean, without a doubt, that is the best one. Therefore, I believe that it is merely that it is unavoidable. And it is unavoidable that, the amount that we are discussing right now is $2.5 trillion. Do I believe that this will be an easy 10 times over the next 5 to 10 years? Look at it. Yes, there is no issue. I don't, and the fact that I say that doesn't strike me as strange in the least. That's a conservative point of view. To continue with the preceding discussion on asymmetric returns, if you are feeling secure, would you argue that there is a possibility that it is 100 times in that time frame? It has a hostile atmosphere. On the other hand, I am not sure, and I believe that a lot of people in the United States, and especially, do not comprehend what it would be like to have lived in Argentina and experienced the Argentine peso being depreciated to the point where it was practically worthless on many occasions during my lifetime. Why would you choose to keep that currency? We are unaware that this could ultimately become us. That, in fact, is the crucial point. Ripple and XRP are both going to experience nothing but excellence in the month that is about to begin. They are elevated to a higher level than the competition thanks to the developers and partnerships. As an illustration, given that Modular Finance is one of the few non-bank financial firms that collaborates with the Bank of England, the cooperation between Ripple and Modular Finance is an arrangement that makes perfect sense for both parties involved. In this manner, the value of XRP is going to